Rebel salute, rebel salute, rebel salute, everyone out there. Rebel salute. I hope you're doing well. This is Kenya Revolutionary. Sorry, guys, I've been off for a while. So let me drink my coffee first of all. Let me drink my just a sip. I'm not finishing. I'm just taking a sip. Oh, that's better. All right, let's see what we have over here. What we have. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades, I'll be here for 30 minutes. Unless there's something interesting that comes up, then we shall maybe go past 30 minutes, but I'll keep it to 30, okay? Anyways, as I first start, and this is also connected to what I'm about to talk about. If you can see this, the topic is Handshake will determine the next Nairobi governor. Now, you might be asking, handshake between who? Of course, the handshake between President William Ruto and Raila Odinga, which probably has happened, okay? I know they're trying to deny this, acting like nothing has happened, but we heard from Maina Njenga told us that, he was told by Raila Odinga to stop the mandamano because he was going to have because Raila was going to have a sit down in that meeting with Ruto in Mombasa at night, which was going to be mediated by Suluhu, the president of Tanzania, okay? And if you can remember, months before Maina made those pronouncements, we had this. I think who is it, Chungwa or somebody disclosed that there was a meeting that happened between Ruto, Raila, and Suluhu, and Junet and Joho was also present in Mombasa for that night meeting. So that confirms that these guys have met and the handshake has happened, as most of us have all along said it has happened, okay? Now, KTN News reports right now, 2 hours ago from now, that Raila Odinga said today in that Mau Mau compensation meeting that Raila Odinga was holding today. Raila Odinga said that I was invited to the state banquet by King Charles III because he is my personal friend, okay? And as I talked about this before, and I will just lump it up and bring it together with the topic today, okay? A lot of Azimio fans were saying that Raila was at State House because, as what, Raila is telling us, because Raila is Raila. He was invited by the King Charles III because, Raila is an important man. And there was all this debate. The Kenya Kwanza people are saying that the reason why Raila was there in the State House when King Charles came is because Ruto invited Raila. Then there was some Azimio guy who was talking on these news talk shows and say that Raila was at the State House at the request, at the invitation by the British High Commissioner, okay? Now Raila is telling us today that he was invited by King Charles III because King Charles is his personal friend. Now, that's all and good, okay? But here's the thing, though. If Ruto was vindictive, if Ruto hadn't had that handshake with Raila, if Ruto was in bad terms with Raila Odinga, Ruto would have simply not let Raila come to the State House. Why do I say that? The King Charles III of England, does not control the Kenya's government. Yes, we can argue. I usually argue that, Ruto and Raila, and actually the Kenyan government is run by British stooges, colonial stooges. Yes, it is. But I'm saying legally, the King of England does not have control of who the president of Kenya invites at the State House. So if Ruto was to be vindictive and said, I do not want Raila Odinga to come to the State House, regardless of whether the king is his personal friend or not, Ruto would have stopped that because Ruto is the head of the state. So if King Charles wanted to meet Raila as his personal friend, King Charles could have gone to the Capitol Hill, where Raila's office is, and met Raila Odinga. The State House is being occupied by the head of the state, who is President William Ruto. And again, so get this clear, because Raila Odinga is in good terms with Ruto and had already, probably, more than probably, had the handshake with President Ruto, Ruto allowed Raila to come to the State House banquet. Okay? Again, let me repeat this. Ruto had the power to stop Raila from coming to the State House, regardless of whether King Charles invited him or not. Because King Charles does not have the power to control who comes to the banquet at the State House in Kenya. Okay? But Raila came because, as I have mentioned, they're in good terms with Ruto because these guys have already had their handshake. Politically, they might not agree on some things here and there, but they're not enemies. So, if Ruto did not want Raila at the State House, he could have stopped him. Just remember the last time when we had these mandamanos. Raila said he had mandamanos. And Ruto stopped Raila Odinga from leaving his house to go meet up his supporters in downtown Nairobi, CBD. Okay? So the point I'm making is this. The heads of state, who is Ruto, the executive, President William Ruto, had the power to stop Raila from meeting his so-called personal friend, King Charles III, at the State House. Because the State House, the person who rules Kenya as the president, who is in control of who comes in and who comes out at the State House, is William Samoei Ruto. I'm not defending him, but we donated that power to him through the vote. Okay? So all this talk, Raila Odinga is just saying, he's playing politics here. He's playing into his supporters by saying, I was there because of the invitation of Prince Charles, not because of Ruto. Because he wants to undermine Ruto's authority in this. He wants to convince his Azimio followers that, hey, Ruto did not invite me at State House. I went there because King Charles is my personal friend. So I went there. But what he fails to tell us is that actually Ruto had to agree for these two to meet at this banquet at the State House because Ruto is the head of the state and he is in control of who comes to the State House and who does not. So if Ruto did not want Raila at the State House, Raila would have not been there. They would have met with his friends, King Charles, somewhere else. Get it? But all in all, what I'm trying to say is this. It's not a big deal for me. This is a small political jab to Ruto because Raila wants to maintain his followers. He doesn't want his followers to think that he's cool or his friends or he gets along with Ruto. He has to create this perception that he is opposed to Ruto. Okay? In order for this, listen to me very carefully. It is in the best interest of Raila Odinga to create this illusion that him and Ruto are in bad terms. Because listen, if Raila was to say that Ruto invited me in the White House, how would his supporters react? His supporters will be like, oh, Raila has already sold us out. Your handshake imeshafanyika. They would have lost hope. But in order to make his supporters think that they're still in bad terms, but he was only there because of Prince Charles' invitation. He has to undermine or try to create this perception that Ruto had no say, had no control over who, where Raila goes, and who Raila meets at the State House. Okay? So that's what Raila is trying to do here. So, to the topic now today, the handshake will determine the next Nairobi governor. A lot of people are talking about Babu Owino, Ongele Owino is going to be the next governor. I tell them, pump your brakes. Pump your brakes. It's not as straightforward as you may think. Okay? Pump your brakes. It's not as straightforward as you think. It is not guaranteed that Babu Owino is going to be the next governor, regardless of how Sakaja might be unpopular. I will tell you why. Let's go and let me quote, what is it? Stalin's infamous quote, where he said, "It is not those who vote that determine the election. It is the person who counts the votes." I'm paraphrasing, okay? You can find that quote on Google or somewhere. I will repeat the quote. My goodness, there's so much noise here. I apologize. There's some construction happening outside. But let me repeat. Stalin said, "It is not the people who vote that determine who wins an election, but it is the person who counts the votes that determines an election." You understand what I'm saying? All right, let's go to it. I know you're asking yourself, what are you talking about? Okay? Babu Owino is the next governor. Who cares? Pump your brakes. Let me take you back to 2017. Okay? Mike Mbuvi Sonko was running against Dr. Miguna Miguna, Evans Kidero, what's his name? What's the other guy's name? That guy, that light-skinned dude, I forgot his name. Whatever, he doesn't care. It doesn't matter. He's not even that important. But let me just say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to that guy. Sorry, buddy. But let's just, let's talk about the heavyweights, okay? We are talking about the heavyweights in that race. It was Mike Mbuvi Sonko, Evans Kidero, who was the incumbent governor, and Dr. Miguna Miguna, okay? Now, Evans Kidero was running under the ODM banner, okay? It was Raila's guy, Azimio guy, okay? Okay? Mike Mbuvi Sonko was the Jubilee candidate, okay? Then, Dr. Miguna Miguna was the independent candidate, okay? Now, we can argue about who had more support than the other, who had more support. But it is clearer than day that Mike Mbuvi Sonko was rigged in to become the governor of Nairobi. He did not win on merit. He did not have the majority of the votes of the Nairobi people. Okay? This noise is really bothering me, ladies and gentlemen. I will just give me a second. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Oh, okay. Give me 5 seconds. I'll make it very short. As I was saying, Mike Mbuvi Sonko was not the most popular candidate, okay? Evans Kidero was the incumbent. Evans Kidero's administration was riddled with controversy, whether it's corruption, claims of corruptions, and all sorts of nonsense that was going on, okay? So he was the ODM candidate, but was not exactly, he had some followers. He was popular. I think he would have beaten Mike Sonko, okay? Miguna was gaining grounds. It was popular, okay, very controversial, okay, but Mike Sonko was not the most popular candidate in Nairobi. But guess what happened? Remember, in that 2017, the presidential election was as controversial as you know the story. Uhuru, Maraga nullified the election. Uhuru tried to run by himself, stood by himself, and declared himself the president, and people rejected him. So when the handshake happened, okay, all right, they let part of the negotiation was Nairobi, okay, because there was a lot of petitions that were put forth regarding the election results of Nairobi gubernatorial race. Okay, there was strong evidence that there was a lot of rigging that happened in Nairobi. Okay, but once, especially it was coming from the Kidero side, the Azimio side, ODM, and independent candidates, at that time, Miguna could not fight it because he was forcefully exiled, okay? But let's not forget, there was a lot of petitions. There was petitions against Mbovi's victory. But it was agreed upon, once this handshake between Raila Odinga and Kenyatta came to fruition, all those petitions went quiet, okay? Watu walinyamaza. Because these two gentlemen agreed upon, they wanted, the Uhuru Kenyatta government wanted Mike Sonko to be their stooge. They wanted to control him. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, okay, if Uhuru wanted Mike Sonko to be the governor of Nairobi, why did Uhuru want him to, Uhuru was under his impeachment? Why did he, some people will argue that. I'll tell you why. It's so simple. I'll tell you why, okay? Once Uhuru Kenyatta, along with the Nairobi cartel, the big business people, most of them from Central Province, who want control of the Nairobi business. Nairobi is the most, they collect a lot of taxes. Nairobi has collected billions in taxes, okay, per year. Okay, I think it's the number one, of course, in Kenya. Nairobi as a city alone, the province, the county, okay, they have a lot of money that they collect. So the cartels that were aligned with Uhuru Kenyatta, along with Uhuru Kenyatta, the Kenyatta business cartel also had interest in Nairobi, and they wanted somebody who they can control, who will be in charge of Nairobi. And Mike Mbuvi fitted the bill. He's semi-literate, can hardly read, okay, so they can tell me what to do. But years into the Mike Sonko's governorship, of course, Mike Sonko felt that he was not in control, so he did not adhere to what his masters were trying to tell him to do. And he was like, no, I'm going to do this my way. I don't care. I'm not going to be controlled by the Kenyatta and his cartels, the Nairobi cartel. And Uhuru was like, Mike Sonko, you're forgetting who really puts you there, okay? I'm your boss. You don't talk back to me, okay? I'm the one who made you become the governor. I rigged you in. Vifaranga for your computer, okay? You forgot, Mike Sonko. You forgot who's your boss. Yeah? You think those Sonko rescue team is what persuaded people to vote for you? No, Mike Sonko. I am Uhuru Kenyatta Muigai, the son of Jomo Kenyatta. Okay? I will take you out. I can put you there and I can take you out. So, Uhuru Kenyatta, along with his Nairobi cartels, they engineered an impeachment and they removed Mike Sonko from the governorship, and they brought in illegally that general, the army, to come in and take over Nairobi. That general will do their bidding, okay? So that's what happened basically, all right? So now coming into today, what we are talking about today, the handshake. You see where I'm going with this? So those of you who are happy that Babu Owino will that Babu Owino will be the next governor. He might. He might. I'm not saying that he will not. But it will be determined with what will be discussed at the handshake, okay, between William Ruto and Raila Odinga. Babu Owino is not stupid. He knows this. And this is what he did. That's why you saw him a few months ago. Remember Babu Owino even after the elections, okay? He was the first person who was criticizing Uhuru Kenyatta, okay? And even before that, in 2017, Babu Owino was a strong support. He is a strong supporter of Raila Odinga and never fails to speak his mind. But when his case happened, the shooting case and the gun case, okay, he warmed up back with Uhuru Kenyatta, okay? And even months before, a few months ago, he met with Uhuru Kenyatta in Nairobi, if you remember that, okay? And Babu Owino is now, he used to be at those hardliners in ODM, okay? But now you see him meeting Jaguar and what's his name? Ndindi Nyoro. Remember when they were raising that money in that primary school that was about to be closed, and they met and they raised some money to save that school, okay? He's rubbing shoulder. Then before that, he was in that wedding in Central Province. I forgot whose wedding it was. But Babu Owino was there. He's rubbing shoulders with UDA guys. He's cheesing it up. He even had an opportunity to talk, okay, to say some words here and there, okay? He's rubbing shoulders with the UDA and the former president Uhuru Kenyatta. Why is he doing this? He understands that the cartel, the Nairobi cartel, the people who control Nairobi, the people who decides who is going to be the next governor, okay? He understands that you have to be in their good grace. You have to be in the good grace with Uhuru Kenyatta. As I told you, the Kenyatta family has huge interest in Nairobi, along with other Nairobi cartels. So Babu Owino, understanding this, he is trying to stay in their good grace. He wants to be cool with them, be on their good side, okay? Trying to tell them, hey, listen, vouch for me. Because if I become the next Nairobi governor, I will guarantee that your interest is safe, okay? I will not ruffle any feathers. Well, that is what Babu Owino is doing, because he understands who really runs Nairobi. Wale watu wenye Nairobi, okay? Now, Sakaja. Let me mention something about Sakaja. What is his first name? Johnston Sakaja, okay? Johnston Sakaja is Ruto's man. Johnston Sakaja is Ruto's man, okay? When he ran against, is it Ugape, whatever that kid is, the billionaire kid. When he ran against him, of course, Sakaja was more likable. Sakaja had been a senator for Nairobi, so, he had the clout. He had more clout than the other guy, okay? Even though the other guy he's a smart kid, but, most people can't relate with him. But Sakaja is Ruto's man, okay? Sakaja is playing also. He's trying to warm up with the Azimio side of things. He's trying to be cool with them. He always gives props to Baba. He always tries to tap in with his the lawyer constituency. He's a lawyer, so he has to tap in there. It will be very hard for him to penetrate through the Luo constituency of Nairobi, the Kibera, you know what I'm saying. That is very hard for him. But Sakaja might be unpopular, but he has the supporting and the blessings of William Samoei Ruto. Now, here's why Sakaja is very calm and is not worried about his seat. The only person that can fight the Nairobi cartels is the president. Okay? I will repeat this. The only person that can fight the Nairobi cartels, the people who decide who is the next governor, is the president. Okay? The president can shake them down and tell them, hey, listen, if you try anything funny, I will put you guys in jail. okay? Because now Uhuru is out of government. Uhuru cannot have that influence that he had when he was president. Uhuru is out. Their guy is out, okay? So it is Ruto, okay? So, like I said, Babu Owino might have the majority of the support in Nairobi. People might genuinely like him as the next governor. But if Ruto wants Sakaja to be the next president, I mean, the next governor of Nairobi, okay, what Ruto simply will do is he will shake down the cartels. Na watafanya mahabrakadabra, and Sakaja will maintain his position as the governor of Nairobi, like it or not. Mupende musipende. I'm not saying Sakaja will win. I'm just saying that's how Kenyan politics is being played. It's not that you win that because people like you. You win because of whoever you know. It goes back to even the nominations. I mean, we can just go to nominations, whether it's Kenya Kwanza or Azimio. ODM nomination. Baba Kisema Mama, you win. Peter, whether people like you or not, go to CIA and see what happens. They always complain every day. Baba points one person and say, "Yo kiti ni yako," and it becomes yours. Same thing in Rift Valley. If Ruto goes there and say, "Simama hapo wewe," you will win. Direct, umeshinda. Okay? So that's how Kenyan politics is played. So while Babu Owino might be the famous popular candidate in Nairobi as the next governor, that does not guarantee that Babu Owino will win the race. The race is not determined by the Wananchi. That's why I started by quoting Stalin saying that it is not the people who vote that decides an election. It is the people who count the vote that decides the election, okay? Why did Azimio lose in the last elections? They did not have enough agents in every polling station. That's number one. Of course, they were also unpopular because of Uhuru, okay? The baggage that the Handshake brothers had. People were tired of them, okay? So, going back to Nairobi, what will happen, okay? What will happen is this. Pay attention to the Bomas talks. They're now kind of breaking up because I told you before, if you've been following me, and I will reiterate what I say, the talks will probably not, they will not come to a conclusion. It will break at some point. And Azimio will go back to the streets. These are just shenanigans. They know what they're doing. These people are not stupid. It is all scripted. They know each other. These people eat together. They're making all those millions together. That's why you see Kalonzo is so determined. They want to bring a panel of experts to join them. But not to get off the topic. In these talks, while they're talking and discussing all this nonsense, we think, we might sit here, if you are really gullible, you might sit there and think that these guys are usually talking about the cost of living and they're talking about how they can whatever, improve the economy, whatever, all those nonsense that we think they're talking about. The real discussion that they're talking about, that's why they don't put these discussions in public. They only sit together there when they have a press conference. But when the talks are going on, they don't show us what they're talking about. Because the real talks is all about BBI. Okay? Creating positions for the opposition. I like how that rhymes. Creating position of the opposition. Okay? How the next government shall be formed. With Raila Odinga maybe having his office as the official opposition. They will give him a car with a bandera. They will always have red carpet for him. Remember, he even said that they want something similar to what the accord of the Kofi Annan accord that happened. The prime ministerial position. Remember that? He said that early when he started his nonsense, this Mandamano nonsense. Remember that? That is what he wants. An attacker carpet. He wants security. He wants a salary. He wants protection. All that. The trappings of power. That's why you see him, even though he's not in government, you see him running around, the press following him around. He acts like the president, anapatiana chakula hapa, anapatiana watu, he's flagging off cards to go give something. He wants to feel important. He's busy, okay? He's always a busybody. Raila wants to be busy. He wants to feel like the president. He wants that I told you, it's a drag, it's a clout. He wants that. He wants to feel like it's something. He wants to be something that he has never achieved. He wants to be a president, okay? So these are the real talks that are happening. And part of the discussion on this, in the behind the scenes, is they will discuss who should be the next governor of Nairobi, whether it's Babu Owino or Sakaja. Okay, that will be determined then. Because remember, again, if you think I'm playing, go back to 2017. Not even 2017. Yeah. 2017. Yeah. When Sakaja, before Sakaja ran, the ODM, the Azimio folks. Remember, Jubilee was part of Azimio, right? Sinu unakumbuka? Remember, the ODM part of Azimio, they agreed to shelf their candidates so that that guy from Jubilee be their main guy to run against Sakaja. Sakaja is Kenya Kwanza. I repeat, in the last gubernatorial election, in the Azimio side of the fence, ODM, Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta sat down and said and agreed upon shelving, having the people step down their candidate. ODM said that we shall let our choice step down so that I forgot the guy's name, the son of that billionaire, Kenyan billionaire that passed away, that ran against Sakaja. But anyway, the point is, they agreed, Jubilee agreed that we shall shelve our guy so that the Jubilee person can stand against Sakaja from the Kenya Kwanza side, okay? So that is the same thing, okay? That's the same thing that's going to happen in this time, because what will happen is Kenya Kwanza, William Ruto has reached an agreement with the Baba. It is just a matter of implementation. So before the next gubernatorial election, William Ruto and Raila Odinga, maybe through their proxies or they can directly talk about it, they will decide between Sakaja and Babu Owino who should be the next governor. And whoever will be decided on is going to be the winner. Okay? So, and if you think I'm lying, ladies and gentlemen, I have a call right here. Let me just take this call real quick. I'm about to wrap up. Just a minute, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. Anyway, guys, I had a call, but I will wrap this thing up. I will wrap it up. Anyway, just to finish, it's been more than 30 minutes. I'm already 3 minutes in past the time. All I'm saying, okay, let me conclude by saying this, okay? Ruto and Raila have already reached a compromise. There'll be a BBI. There'll be a handshake, okay? And that's what they're forming in the Bomas nonsense that's going on with Kalonzo Musyoka and Kimani Machungwa. You can hear them. You heard Wamatangi this past weekend in Central Province. I don't know if he was in a funeral or a meeting or whatever. And he already mentioned this, that, oh, the people of Central Province should embrace this idea of inclusivity, where they will, you know, what as Patiana ma cheo. It's BBI in other words, okay? So what I'm trying to say is this. Raila Odinga and Ruto will sit down and decide if Sakaja or Babu Owino shall be the next governor. That is part of the BBI thing. This is not going to be something that's determined by the people, okay? Notice, Babu Owino hasn't been really critical of Ruto as other ODM leaders. Notice, Babu Owino has not been as critical of Ruto. Even if he criticizes the government, he's not personalizing it. Remember when he used to Ninio Ruto and say the president, even during the Uhuru Kenyatta, he was saying Uhuru Kenyatta, the president is doing this and that. He's not personalizing it. He's mentioning what's wrong with the government without actually putting the president's name in this. Okay? Notice that. Because he knows he wants the agreement when the time is comes, when Raila Odinga and Ruto sits down and they determine who they want in Nairobi, he wants to be in good graces with it. That's why you see Babu Owino is now cool with Kenyatta. He's okay. He's in good grace. He has patched it up as far as the relationship with Kenyatta. You see him goes to these matangas and these fundraising and marriages with the UDA guys, the Central Province guy, the Kenyatta affiliated politicians, okay? Because he knows he wants that favor. He wants Uhuru to vouch for him. And he also wants Ruto to vouch for him, which will be tough, but we'll see. So, in conclusion, the race for Nairobi governorship will not be determined by the voters. It will be determined by the handshake between William Ruto and Raila Odinga. Okay? Because while Babu Owino seems to be the popular politician right now, that does not guarantee him to win. Okay? If Ruto shakes down the Nairobi cartels and props up his Sakaja and helps Sakaja, regardless of Sakaja's performance or lack thereof, Sakaja will win. It's just how it's about who have the power. If you have the power, you determine who is going to stand where. Okay? So while the pundits and the analysts might feed you with all the voting blocks in Nairobi, the Kikuyus, the Luo voting block, the Kambas, the Luyas, and all that, that will not play a part in the election. What will play a part is who the powers that be wants to be the next governor of Nairobi. As it stands, I can say Sakaja is still going to be the governor. For this simple reason. I know you might be asking, okay? For this simple reason, okay? Sakaja is not performing that bad. He's not, but there's a lot of allegation of corruption, Nairobi is still dirty and all that stuff, okay? Right? Babu Owino is growing in fame. But come election time, okay, the powers that be, Sakaja can run to Ruto and say, hey, let's fix this guy. How are they going to fix it? Go back to that case. They'll be like, hey, Mr. Babu Owino, you know we have something called Chapter 6 of the Constitution. Because remember, the law in Kenya is used only to deter the people who they do not want in power. So if Sakaja wants to get rid of this guy, he'll go to Ruto and say, hey, listen, let's pull some strings. Pigia EACC, let's review this Chapter 6. Because while you can argue that Sakaja is corrupt, you have to prove it. And we know how it goes if you have money. But with Babu Owino, everyone saw the tape, everyone saw the crime, and they'll say, Chapter 6, we don't care what the court says. And they can even call the court. They can call Koome and say, Koome, fanya hiyo kitu bwana, fanya hiyo kitu. And all of a sudden, this case will be open and will be distracted by the possibility of Babu Owino being tried for something. Okay? And before you know it, he will drop out of race and Sakaja will maintain his position. But again, if in the negotiation of BBI, if Raila Odinga vouches for William Ruto and tells him, hey, William Ruto, listen, this is my boy right here. He's been a town supporter. I can patch things up between you and him. Let him run, okay? Let him be the governor. Watch I end there. That's my boy. We'll make sure. Then William Ruto will say, okay, he can be the governor of Nairobi, but this is what he has to do. Awache kumfanya hivi. And I'll be cool with that. If he does this and that and that and that, we shall impeach him. And they can agree upon that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades, it's been more than 30 minutes. It's 39 minutes. Actually, it's 40 minutes. I've been here for 40 minutes. And I say that I'll be only here for 30 minutes. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please go ahead. My name is Kenya Revolution. Find me on YouTube. Type that name in Kenya Revolutionary. Subscribe, share, like, comment. Tell me what you think. Do you think Babu Owino will have a landslide victory in 2027? Or do you think Sakaja will maintain his position as the governor? Subscribe, share, like, comment, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace and blessings.